They say money can't buy happiness, but at Riverside Academy, it could buy you everything else: power, popularity, and apparently the right to make my life a living nightmare. My name is Maya, and this is the story of how the girl who had everything tried to take away the one thing she could unbuy my spirit. It started on a Tuesday morning in September. I remember because the autumn leaves were just beginning to turn gold, matching the designer accessories that adorned every corner of our elite private school. I was standing at my locker, wearing my older brother's hand-me-down jacket, when I first truly caught Victoria Sterling's attention. Victoria wasn't just wealthy. She was legacy wealthy. Her family's name was engraved on the library, the science wing, and probably half the buildings in our city. She glided through the hallways like she owned them, because technically her family's donations kind of did. Designer bags that cost more than my family's monthly rent dangled from her arm. Her honey blonde hair was always perfectly styled, her makeup flawless, her clothes straight from Paris Fashion Week. And me. I was the scholarship kid, the charity case, the girl who packed homemade lunches while everyone else ordered gourmet meals from the school's private chef. Nice jacket, Victoria said that morning, her voice dripping with false sweetness. Her entourage of equally glamorous friends giggled behind perfectly manicured hands. Is that from this century, or are you going for a vintage homeless look? My cheeks burned red, but I forced myself to smile. It's comfortable, I replied quietly, clutching my books tighter. Comfort, she repeated, as if the word was foreign to her. How ... quaint. She examined her reflection in a compact mirror that probably cost more than my entire wardrobe. You know, Maya, if you need help looking presentable, I could donate some of my old things. I am sure even my trash would be an upgrade for you. The laughter that followed echoed through the corridor like breaking glass. That was just the beginning. Over the next few months, Victoria made it her personal mission to remind me daily of my place in her world. She'd knock my lunch tray out of my hands in the cafeteria. She'd start whispers whenever I walked by. Once, she even posted a photo of my worn-out sneakers on social media with the caption, "Poverty. Core, not a trend." The worst part wasn't the expensive pranks or the public humiliation. It was the isolation. Other students were too afraid to befriend me because crossing Victoria meant social suicide. I ate lunch alone in empty classrooms. I worked on group projects by myself. I became invisible, a shadow moving through gilded hallways. My grades started slipping. I stopped raising my hand in class, afraid that any attention would give Victoria new ammunition. The scholarship that had been my ticket to a better future suddenly felt like a prison sentence. One particularly brutal day, Victoria outdid herself. She'd discovered that I worked weekends at my aunt's flower shop to help pay for school supplies. So she and her friends showed up, pretending to be customers, asking for the most expensive arrangements, only to laugh and walk out without buying anything. Does it pay well, arranging flowers? Victoria asked, her voice loud enough for other customers to hear. Or do you just steal the wilted ones to match your whole aesthetic? I stood there, my hands trembling, my eyes burning with unshed tears, but I refused to cry. Not in front of her. Not again. That night, I broke down in my mother's arms. I can't do this anymore, I sobbed. I don't belong there. Maybe I should just quit. My mother, her hands rough from working double shifts as a nurse, cupped my face gently. Baby girl, diamonds are formed under pressure. That school isn't your prison, it's your proving ground. You're not there because of charity. You're there because you earned it with your brilliant mind. Her words planted a seed that would change everything. I made a decision that night. Victoria could mock my clothes, my background, my circumstances, but she couldn't touch my mind, my kindness, or my determination. I started waking up at 5 a.m., studying before school. I joined the debate team, even though it meant facing Victoria's sneers. I volunteered to tutor younger students who struggled with math. Slowly, I began to reclaim my voice. Then came the regional science fair, the most prestigious academic competition our school participated in. The winner would receive a full scholarship to any university of their choice and represent our state at nationals. Victoria announced she was entering, funding an expensive project about renewable energy with equipment that cost thousands of dollars. I decided to enter too. My project was simple: a water purification system built from recycled materials that could provide clean drinking water to communities in need. I used supplies from hardware stores, spent countless nights researching, and poured my heart into something that could actually help people. The day of the fair arrived. The gymnasium was transformed into a showcase of innovation. Victoria's booth was glamorous, professionally designed posters, a sleek presentation, hired technicians managing her displays. My booth was humble: handwritten posters, a working prototype built from plastic bottles, sand, charcoal, and gravel. But it worked, and it worked beautifully. As judges made their rounds, I noticed Victoria glancing at my booth with something I'd never seen in her eyes before: uncertainty. The auditorium was packed for the announcement ceremony. Victoria sat in the front row, surrounded by her family, her parents dressed in designer suits, her grandmother wearing jewelry that could fund a small country. I sat in the back, my mother beside me in her nurse's scrubs, having rushed from her shift to be there. Third place was announced, then second place, and the first place winner, who will represent our state at nationals: Maya Rodriguez, for her innovative water purification system. The applause was thunderous. I walked to the stage in a daze, my mother crying tears of joy. As I accepted the trophy, I looked out at the audience and saw Victoria's face, a mixture of shock, anger, and something else, something that looked almost like respect. But the real moment came afterward. I was packing up my booth when Victoria approached, alone, without her usual entourage. Without her armor of designer clothes and cutting remarks, she looked smaller, almost human. "Congratulations," she said stiffly. "Thank you," I replied, waiting for the catch, the insult, the twist. Instead, she stood there, fidgeting with her designer bracelet. "Your project. It was actually impressive. It could help people." I studied her face, seeing past the perfect makeup for the first time. "Is that so hard to admit?" She looked away. "Everything's always been easy for me. Money makes things easy. But I've never actually created something that mattered." Her voice cracked slightly. "You have something I can't buy." In that moment, I saw her clearly. A girl trapped in her own golden cage, measuring her worth in price tags because she'd never learned any other metric. I could have gloated. I could have been cruel. But my mother's words echoed in my mind. Kindness is the luxury that costs nothing but means everything. "Victoria," I said gently, "you don't need to buy worth. You just need to find what matters to you. What would you do if money wasn't a factor?" She looked at me, genuinely confused. "I don't know. Maybe that's where you start." Over the following months, something shifted. Victoria didn't become my best friend overnight. Real change doesn't work that way. But the bullying stopped. She started asking genuine questions about my project. She even volunteered at a community center, quietly, without social media fanfare. As for me, I went to nationals and placed in the top 10. I received scholarship offers from universities across the country. But more importantly, I learned that my worth was never determined by designer labels or family legacy. It was built from resilience, kindness, and the courage to stand tall even when everything tried to push me down. Years later, I ran into Victoria at a charity fundraiser. She was working as a nonprofit coordinator, using her family's resources to fund education initiatives for underprivileged students. "You changed my life," she told me over coffee. "You showed me that the richest person in the room isn't the one with the most money. It's the one with the most purpose." I smiled. We both learned something. You taught me that even diamonds can be cold without warmth. And I hope I taught you that real wealth is measured in impact, not income. We both laughed, Two girls who started as enemies but emerged as something better. Reminders that everyone is fighting battles we can unsee, and that kindness is the most powerful currency of all. My name is Maya Rodriguez. I was bullied by a rich girl, and here's what happened. I discovered that no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. I learned that your circumstances don't define your destiny. And I proved that the greatest revenge is not becoming like those who hurt you. It's becoming so absorbed in your own growth that you forget to hate them. They say money can't buy happiness. But I learned something even more valuable. It can't buy character, courage, or the kind of wealth that truly matters, the richness of a life lived with purpose, dignity, and unshakable self-worth. And that's worth more than all the designer bags in the world.